welcome back to another episode of Real Dugout Confessions. This is Peter Janoski with Figure It Out Baseball. I'm a left-handed pitcher at Seton Hill University. I'm a redshirt freshman, and I'm here today with former Seton Hill pitcher Aidan Layton. Aidan was just drafted by the Oakland Athletics in the 17th round of the MLB draft this past July, and he is currently a member of their rookie ball club. Warren, I hope you're doing great today, and why don't you tell everybody at home a little bit about yourself?
Well, he called me Worm, so that is my nickname. I graduated from Bishop McCourt High School in 2020. I went to Seton Hill all 4 years, was picked up after I graduated last year, as Pete mentioned. Mainly right now, we just came back from Arizona. I'm just training, following the off-season program right now. I come up and see the boys at Seton Hill all the time, so it's going great right now. I have no complaints.
So I only had Warren for a teammate as 1 year, but he definitely had a big impact on us. Got to know him quite well, and he was a great leader on the team. But in the years that I didn't know Worm, I want you to just tell us a little bit about your journey from college baseball to getting drafted and how you ended up at Seton Hill.
So yeah, I only played 1 year of high school. I got injured my junior year. I wasn't good enough to play varsity freshman year. Sophomore year, I had a little bit of innings. That was the only year I played. Junior injured, senior COVID. So Seton Hill was pretty much after I got injured. Seton Hill was like the only school that checked up on me and like actually kept in touch weekly, and like they genuinely felt like they wanted me as a player. So I decided to go there. Obviously, that was like my only choice. They gave me one of the best offers, other than I think it was UPJ and them. I was between UPJ and them, and I didn't want to stay at home, obviously. So I wanted to branch out. So I stayed a little local. I just went an hour away, pretty easy drive home. So we go. I'm there freshman year, and I had no expectation to start because they just lost Mac the year prior. They had their season canceled. I came into a program where everyone was hungry and driven, and it wasn't just to win. It was for their teammate that has passed, and that had the biggest impact on us as a culture, and I feel like us as a team. And so just seeing all of that culture, it kind of molded me into the player I am and the mindset I have today. Just seeing all of those guys that were so much older than me have such a tragic loss, and how it influence their mindset and just the way they carry themselves every day. So freshman year, I bounced around a lot. Our ace, sadly, he was my lifting partner because I was going to train under him. So we were partners for lifting. He got his hand broke on a box jump. So he was going forward and he smacked his hand and it broke his pinky on his throwing hand. So he was out until like playoffs. So I took a starting role I was either the first one in after the starter. So the starter would go like 4. I'd be the first one in, get like 2 innings there or something. I got bumped to a starting role, and we were 17-0. I had our first loss against Gannon. So that was my first start as a freshman, and we were this close to breaking the record, like the Seton Hill all-time record for win streak. And I gave our team the first loss. So that was a really hard mental part, especially because I was going through very bad mental health freshman year with school and all. I majored in biology, well, transferred majors, but I was trying to major in biology, and that was just way too hard and way too much. A lot of anxiety, a lot of depression that went into it. So overall, they shipped me off to Utica Blue Sox in the Perfect Games League up in New York for the summer ball. And that went overall well. I'm pretty sure I didn't throw great. I know that. I don't remember the stats, but I was also like one of the youngest players there because I was, again, a freshman going in to be a sophomore. So come back sophomore year. So I didn't really train at all. I just kept throwing against hitters, which didn't really get me better, but it just gave me reps, which is, I guess, what I needed. Sophomore year comes, and I had the worst year of my life. I went from starter role, losing my starter role, going into the bullpen, coming out of the bullpen behind the starter, gave up like 4 home runs in a row in one game, and then never pretty much didn't pitch again. I pinch ran in a regional before I ever ran or ever pitched in one. And that's because Max Mandler pooped himself. Shout out Max. So that was fun. Oh, I didn't even talk about the World Series freshman year. That was the best part.
Tell us a little bit about the World Series run that you got to be a huge part of.
Yeah, that was a big part of that. How did I forget that? So yeah, we obviously, I didn't play much of a playoff role like at all. Of course, I was a freshman. I was just I was grateful enough to be on the roster. So I ended up traveling with the team, still getting my work in, seeing how playoff baseball is actually done, and like seeing how good we can be. We were in the regional. We won. We didn't have a super regional that year, so all we had to do was win the regional, which was easier. So went to the World Series. I still wasn't in the greatest mindset because like I was up and down for a lot of the time, and as a young minded freshman, I felt that as like a little disrespect. I felt that it like killed my confidence a little bit. Of course, I want to help my team win, and I let that influence like just my mindset of being around the team. So I took it for granted a little bit being there. And it was my first year. I thought, oh, we're gonna go back. It's so easy. Nope. It's the hardest thing we did freshman year through senior year. But yeah, we go down there. I'm pretty sure we win our first game, lose our second game, and then we're up against Angelo State and we're down 6-0. And they pull me into the game. They put me in the game. I haven't thrown in a game in like 2 to 3 weeks. So I was fresh. They said, let's throw someone fresh out there. I get two zeros. I get 2 zeros in the 2 innings. Our hitters scored 4. So we scored 2 in the first inning that I got a 0 and 2 in the bottom. So it was 6-4 ball game. And I think I get 1 out and then a single or a walk. I first and second, I know that. And like I was still like I was in the zone there, and they subbed me out, that was fine. But then our guy gave up 3 runs, and that was the last time of the World Series, sadly. But it was just the experience being with all the guys and just being there. It was surreal. Like I would go back in a heartbeat and do it all over again if I could. So sophomore year going into that was the worst season of my life. But it was my most growing season, I would say, because I had nothing but failure. So I had to learn how to deal with all that failure and turn it into something better. So basically by the end of the sophomore year, we ended up in 6th place in the PSAC. This is why we have the number 6 on our shirt. Yeah, that was because we finished 6th place. So I made it a personal goal because I didn't throw like at all. Like I got pulled, and basically I felt like I was giving up on, but I can't blame them looking back on it because of how bad I was. So I made it a goal of mine in the off season to get stronger and be an actual unit, to be a guy to step up for the team. And I feel like I did accomplish that my junior year. Going into junior year, that was one of my best seasons. I solidified a starting spot. I stayed there. I was our 3rd guy away game. I developed my sinker a little bit. Or no, I didn't even have a sinker junior year. So I was still 4-seam, but I just had better command of my off speed, which was like my bread and butter at that point. And I think I ended with like a 4 ERA at the very end because I was skating like 3.2 to 3.5, and then I gave up. Millersville had my number that year, and we lost to him in the super regional. And I think I gave up like 6 runs, and we just got smoked. Like we lost 2 games out of 2 games. Like there was no shot. And that was our World Series chance again, junior year. I played in the Great Lakes Summer League in Ohio, and that's whenever junior year, that was whenever I started to get scout looks. That was like my first prospect link I think I got, and it was over summer, or it was just at the end of the season. And I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, oh, maybe I do have like a shot at this if I get my stuff together, like, and I become a pitcher, not just a thrower, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So going into senior year, I had a great. I was an all-star in the Ohio or the Great Lakes League. Had a good year. Came back senior year, and I knew I didn't really have any older guys to compete with. I just had like I knew my capabilities, and I had like all the pitching staff of my like age because we were the seniors that year, and this is the year we were together. So I just knew I had to compete with basically the 4 starting positions. Dino, I knew Chad could get there if he tried hard enough, but it would be. I knew I was competing with Dino, Bergert mainly. It was I felt Bergert was like just my rival. He was one that I tried to push myself to be better than. I remember the pull down test. He went right before me, the practice before me, and he was hitting 100, 100, 100, and I was like, it's like. So it was. I felt like he felt like that too. So it was really good for our 2 guys. But then, I mean, our pitching staff really did their job this year, and I think it was because of all of the years built up. Because I went through all the same stuff with those guys, and they probably had the same kind of mindset I did. But some of them didn't like the results they were getting at times, which that could lead to selfishness or just not being a good teammate, you know? And I tried never to be that guy. Obviously, if I had a bad outing, you would know I was mad, but like I would try to never get mad at someone. Like if someone would come up to me and talk to me, like I wouldn't flip out on you per se. Like I would just give me a second, please. And I think that's the goal. You gotta learn how to balance baseball and off the field and on the field. You can't let out of the field stuff carry on to the field, which is what I did freshman year. So now I'm going to talk about the mental health part of it. So freshman year, baseball was like my outlet. It was the only thing I felt happy doing. I hated school. I hated like being in a new place. I didn't know anyone. No one knew me. So it was overall weird for me. So I used baseball to cope. So if I had to say I had bad outing, it would ruin my entire view on like my outside friendships, my relationships. If I would be arguing with my parents for no reason, like stuff like that. And then if you let that outside stuff affect what you can do on the baseball field and just rely like and expect good decisions because, oh, you had a bad day, I'm going to go take it out on the baseball field and really do something good. But sometimes baseball doesn't work that way. Like you fail 7 out of 10 times and you're considered one of the greatest players ever lived. That's the greatest thing about baseball. You continually have to learn how to deal with failure to be the best. And they preach that a lot now in pro ball. They don't care how many times you fail. They want you to fail because they know you have the ability to go back and fix whatever you're failing. So they're looking at like they pick your mechanics apart. They don't force you to change anything though. They give you recommendations, and if something doesn't feel right, you have the option to switch. Like they'll keep working. They'll try to find something that works for you because every pitcher's different. Same things like every hitter. There's certain cues that work for people, but it doesn't all correlate together, you know?
Thank you for sharing all of that. And you answered a lot of the questions that I had planned. So thanks for that, Worm. But
I thought
I
that's
want
what
to,
you wanted me to do.
hey, that's great. That's great. But I want to touch on one thing real quick. You mentioned McLean Mond. And for those who don't know, McLean Mond was a former Seton Hill baseball player who tragically passed away. But I remember every day before your start, or not every day, but whether it was right before your bullpen at a home game or at an away game, you would write in turf on the mound that you were going to throw on in the bullpen MM40, which is the initials of McLean Mond and his number while he was at Seton Hill. So I want to ask how that served as an inspiration to you and how that kind of powers you to become who you are today.
Yeah. So personally, I never knew Mac, and I've being a committed freshman, that I had access to the videos, all the games, all the fall training. So I watched his videos like multiple times before I even got there. And he had potential to be like, he was going to start his freshman year, like for sure. Kevin always says this. He was like, Kevin admitted he was like going to be better than him. Like, so I always took that as, life is way too short to like not try your hardest or give your best. You have to love life around you. You have to love every opportunity. And writing that on the mound, every time I look down at the mound, it's almost like a reset for me. If I make a bad pitch, if I do something wrong, it's like, that was my motivation to give it everything I had, no matter what I felt like, no matter what it was. It's because he could have been there. He should have been there. He should have had that opportunity, the same ones we had. So we can't take any opportunities for granted, and have to be grateful for every opportunity we get to take the baseball field, because you never know what could happen to like close friends, family, or anyone around you. And I just know, to the people above me and to the people like that I grew into that program with, that kid meant a lot to everyone around, and you felt that energy no matter where you were. And one of the best moments, I think, was, I don't remember what game, but we were scraping to like, we were scraping to get out of, like, I think we were going to the playoffs. And if we would have like lost this game, we would have been done. Like, our season would have been done. And there was a pieced ball at our home, and the wind was just so strong in right field, it completely just stopped it. And our right fielder caught it like a routine fly ball. We all thought it was gone off the bat. And then someone gave me chills. I think Maz said it. Maz said Mac was up there blowing on the ball to help us win that game. He was watching out for us this year. And I never forgot that moment, and just how much baseball and everything means, even life in general. And just seeing how that affected other people just carried me. And I knew I had to keep that alive, to be honest.
Well, that's absolutely incredible, and your story is so inspirational. And unfortunately, we're about out of time here, but I just wanted to ask you one more question to end the day, and we like to end here with a fun question. So you're headed into pro ball. Hopefully, we'll get up to single A next year, and I wanted to know that. I mean, here at Seton Hill, we weren't allowed to have walkout songs. If you were a pitcher, if you were a hitter, you couldn't have a walk-up song. So if you're going to pick a walkout song for next year, what are you going to pick?
Oh my gosh. I'm a big NF guy. My walkout song, I'm usually I don't like walkout songs much. So in summer balls, like I never like paid much attention to it. I always went with Centuries, but I would say Clouds by NF at like the 2:30 mark or something. Some like when the beat drops.
All right, good choice. Good choice.
What would yours be?
Fireman by Lil Wayne. That was mine in high school, and that'll be mine whenever I get to use one again.
Hey, win a natty and Maz will let you.
That's the deal. That's the deal here. Warren, I appreciate you for joining me today, and best of luck going forward. Best of luck going forward in this off season and in your pro baseball career.
Thank you, Pete. It was great to be here.
This is Peter Janoski with Figure Out Baseball's Real Dugout Confessions, signing out.